I'm Stewart Mcsporran. I'm the head enterprise architect at Everflow. Everflow is a utilities broker. They started initially providing water services in the business to business context, and they built their own trading engine for brokers to use. And that's rapidly become one of the preferred platforms for water brokers to work on. And what we're doing now is growing the company. We're moving to other utilities, and we're building our own platform to manage cross utilities. Um, we're looking to develop something that makes us run well, and then possibly offer that as a service to other companies later on. The company is based in Peterlee, which is just south of Newcastle. It's the first company I've been to where they claim to have values, and I've actually found that they execute those values. That's very apparent, and that is obviously expressed in how we treat customers. And we've got very low turnover rates in our staff. It's all going very well from that perspective. I'm leading that from the Everflow perspective, um, working with your team to bring together how are we going to achieve our goals and working with the company to define what the goals are. We bought the product because we can use it to execute the models. We reviewed your competitors as well, and your competitors were good at storing models and giving diagrams. What we liked about QualiWare is we can actually take these things, we can put it as part of our business as usual processes. So we're going to be running our operational risk through the product, giving us value beyond just simply creating models that nobody ever looks at. Communication. We had no unified way of trying to get information across different departments. QualiWare were a startup, and it's moving people from the startup mentality to an engineered view, and that requires a centralized perspective. And just creating the odd PowerPoint or Word document isn't giving a centralized perspective. So I wanted the company to have a central model that everyone referred to, everyone can work with, and that brings us all on the same journey, the same path. We needed something. We just needed something to control what we were doing. Um, this platform we're building is big, especially for a company like us. We're moving from a couple of monolithic systems to distributed architectures. It's too much to hold in people's heads. It has to be in some system somewhere. Flexible model, it had to do the basics, but then most products in this space do the basics and they do them all right. So it was how do we communicate the information? How easy is it to use? How flexible? How encompassing is it? Can we grow with it as a company? I would. I don't want to just buy a silo that's only used by a team of 3 or 4 people. So the dashboard features, they were quite useful. The fact you can take from innovation through to execution with various levels of quality in the tool set, but the whole end-to-end story is there at least in some form. It's still very early stages, but it's going all right. We're working with your consultants. We're building the models. We are refining our internal approach to things as well in light of looking at your models. So I say so very early days, but it's looking positive. We're focusing just now on getting risk into the system. So we have all sorts of project risk, technical risks, operational, the usual, but they're held in different spreadsheets. They use different terminology. So what we're doing is taking the model you've got, we're looking at things like the COSO standard model, merging them all together to say this is how we will run risk in the QualiWare product. That's a good question. There'll be about a dozen to begin with. Um, that's probably this year. I think this year is going to be getting everything set up, getting a framework in place, getting best practice. The last thing I want to do with a tool like QualiWare is give someone a license and say, there you go, because it will fail. If people aren't guided or given an area they need to work in, they will be overwhelmed by the product. So we need to create processes and frameworks that people can fit in with their roles and that's not going to happen overnight. New benefits. Centralized knowledge. That's what we bought it for in the first place. Ability to execute the models, as I mentioned earlier. And the company, the attitude of the company is very good. Our ideas are taken on board. We've had a few things we've mentioned already brought in and changes made, so that's good to see. So it's all quite positive so far. As a techie, it's the ontology model. As an enterprise architect, it's the flexibility. I think it's going to be the dashboards once I get a chance to actually start producing dashboards focused to the roles of my users and my departments. We're a small department, there are only two of us. So in a year's time, I hope to have the risks running in the system, our application portfolio management running in the system. That's the next thing we want to look at doing. All of our solutions architecture diagrams in the system. And if that's running smoothly, that will be a good place given the comparatively small size of team that we have.
So I hope I can interview you again in about a year's time, and then
Different
let's
answer
see.
to that. Absolutely.
So thank you so much for taking time.
Thank you.